it's actually okay to be single. There's a lot of people out there who, you know, they say stuff about like, oh, you only live once, and go for it, and some try to just get you into like jumping into it with someone if you have interest, and like it doesn't always have to be about all that. There's also too many people out there who I believe have too much of this mentality, what I like to call relationship or bust. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, excuse me for my voice here. Oh, it's been dealing with a lot of stuff. Anyway, what I mean by that relationship or bust mentality is, it's like nobody wants, it feels like nobody wants to be friends with the opposite gender. It's like it's just like, come on now, like a male and a female can be friends with each other. It's very well possible, all right? Sometimes in certain situations, I think it's actually quite beneficial to have somebody of the opposite gender as friends to talk to in certain situations. And I'll tell you right now from experience, as a guy like me whose majority of my friends are female, it's actually helped me out quite a bit. I have no resentment at all towards women. Like you're not ever going to hear me say that, oh, well, women are trash nonsense, and, oh, they're out to take your money, and, blah, 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 and all those other negative connotations, which don't get me wrong. Yeah, like there's some crappy women out there, but guess what? There's also some crappy men out there too. So, just overall, I mean, no matter who you surround yourself with, you just have to avoid the toxicity in any sort of shape, form, or fashion that you can. And, and I have, and me personally, I have been single for over 4 years. My last relationship was in November 2020. Ended, and that lasted for two months. I've had a lot of difficulties with really being with anybody for a significantly long period of time. And also most relationships I had early on, especially early on when I was in school, dealt with so many limitations with, being able to see any girl I dated, like, outside of school, and, be able to, like, really, like, build any sort of bonds and stuff like that. And also there were, I also dealt with those that, like, played games and stuff, too, unfortunately, but, and then I even had I kind of had a phase where I did some online dating, and I remember 6 in a row where, like, I didn't meet them in person first, and only one of those I actually did, which was my longest relationship, the last 10 months. And, but, besides that one, I've dealt with, hardly anybody that's lasted even a month. The last 2 girlfriends, that was really the first time where there weren't quite so many limitations, but even then there still were in terms of like the circumstances. And I don't really like met them in person first and whatnot, but you know, I got to a point though where when it came to my last relationship, I just felt like I just couldn't do it anymore. Um, you know, I would give and give and give. You know, I always try to be a very reasonable person and whatnot, and you know, I dealt with a lot of times with getting taken advantage of and you know, not being treated right, and I just got to a point where, you know, enough is enough. And I remember it was at the beginning of 2021 where there was this one girl that I had known for it was about like a month or so. And it was like we both had interest towards each other. And I remember her talking about some stuff about you know, just wanting to take her time and whatnot. It's like, well, yeah, like I want to take my time too. And there was some stuff that she was getting sorted out with, like moving to a different city and whatnot. Because, well, she lived here in Indianapolis at the time. It was just like a different portion of the city. And then next thing you know, like I remember seeing all of a sudden, like, I remember like even her talking to me about like this one guy that she was friends with, but he was just acting like really shady with like even one meter. And this was somebody off of Facebook Day, and this girl that I knew, I met her off there too. But anyway, then eventually, I guess the guy got his head out of his rear. So then, you know, they hung out, and the next thing you know, like all of a sudden I see on my Facebook, like, bam, she's like in a relationship. And then just all of a sudden, like changing her profile picture from it being like just her to being like her and this guy. And then like her cover photo, like it was like me and her. And then she changed like her and that guy. And after that, I was just like, you know what? Like, I basically just got onto a rampage. I was just like, no more. You know, I just, now here I am at the beginning of 2025. And, you know, I just, I feel like I've been to a point where like there's still that small part of me that does want to try again. You know, I mean, I'm on my longest stint of being single, but you know what? Like I know that I've realized more and more that, you know, that's okay. I mean, I've been, you know, I've grown so comfortable with it to a point where now it's like I wouldn't even know what the hell to do if, you know, if I actually did meet a girl and, you know, something could actually be there one day. I wouldn't even know the answers to that. But, you know, I feel like I've grown a lot more comfortable in my own skin. And, you know, when you've been single for as long as I have, or anything close to it, if not even longer, I mean, you know, especially living by yourself like I do, as I'm on my second stint of that, you know, you really get to take a lot of time to reflect from within and, you know, just look for what you want and don't want. But one thing I have really been making sure to do is not get trapped into, oh, I don't want this, like, and not always getting so wrapped into what I don't want. Because while that is important, if you just, you get wrapped into that all the time, then that creates some opposite effects. So, at the end of the day, being single is okay. You don't always have to go be with somebody, like, the moment that you end a relationship. All right, and I'll tell you what, if and when I ever find somebody, well, I definitely did not go at least 4 years at the time of this video, if not longer, depending on whenever that happens, when I'm with someone again, I did not go a long time just to deal with the same results all over again. So, hey, whatever happens with me happens. But at the same time, I know this might make sense in a kind of sad way, but, from me being so detached and not even really, like, having friends that live, like, close to me, although that'd be a great thing to help too, because most of my friends live far away from me, and many in other states. I just do not, like, as I'm being detached, I also just don't really feel like, because of that, in part by choice, there's not really any, heartbreak or disappointment to worry about. So, I don't know, I'd say it would probably would take quite a bit to really change my mind before I step foot into a relationship again. But, that's just me. I'm sure, probably some of you out there may relate to me. And it's okay to just take your time, look within yourself, treat yourself to some stuff, like go out some places, like do whatever that, makes you happy. And, just make sure you enjoy your own company. And then the more you do that, and more you're self-fulfilled, and, you're treating yourself well, then, that'll make it easier in turn than, for a time where you'll be with somebody. So, just don't lose your faith. Okay? I do believe that there is somebody out there for everybody. And when that moment comes, universe will provide that for you at the perfect opportunity.